Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Vampire Counts led by Maximilianaire facing off against the Empire, who's going to be helmed by Melkor, and should be fun. We got Welcome to Astalia coming in with Balthazar Gelt, and it is going to be a Necrarch Vampire Lord, who does have access to Spirit Leech, Raise Dead, and Invo, and Dark Protection as well. Extra evil. So for the Vampire Counts, front line's going to be Zombo, secondary line's going to be Graveguard and Skeletons, with Spears in the back and double Corpse Guard. Nothing really avant-garde here. This is very basic Vampire Counts, pretty much the same kind of core cookie cutter you see in every single build. With Crypt Ghouls to advance up and grab the objectives quick, I really do like that tech. I think that's quite nice. White Kings, of course, are nerfed this patch, but I still think they're an S tier unit. Very, very good. Scabscraith is just too good to not bring against the Empire. Now, looking at Melkor going to be using Foot Balthazar Gelt. Final Transmutation is good. I really do think Gelt's mobility, though, is nice on the Beast, but, you know, I understand just going cheap and wide. Rest of the build is going to be Greatsword heavy with double Empire Captain. Really interesting. So these guys, my concern about them is they're only 375. So that is the coolest part. It's 3 capture weight that's like impossible to get rid of at 375, or it takes a long time to get rid of. But they will get schooled by the White Kings pretty badly. White Kings are just much stronger, 5,000 HP compared to 3.6. White Kings also have bonus versus infantry and just a higher stat line to boot. So we'll see how it goes for these bad boys. Archers in the secondary to shoot at the Crypt Ghouls and the Shaft-centric units, and we do also have some Pistoliers. But the Greatswords really are going to be the epicenter of the build. It looks like in total we do have 3 Greatswords, which should trade okay into this army. On the far side of the battlefield, we do see Black Knights with Lances being called in. The White Kings are going to be eating some arrows out of the gates. It's worth shooting them, honestly. Even if it's just a little bit of damage, it can add up and, you know, get them down eventually. But so far, they've been able to avoid most of that, and the dreaded Scabscraiths will be in effect soon. We are going to be seeing the Empire Captains go after them, and that is one situation in which I think the Empire Captains fighting the White Kings wouldn't be bad, because you could blob them up and get an overcasted Final Transmutation on those guys. So one Scabscraith activated to the Archers there. They're a cheap unit, not a big deal, but it is able to get them and do some okay HP damage. Crypt Ghouls waiting in the wings, and the Vampiric army is going to be gathering, and it does look like the Final Transmutation from Gelt is going to be going down. And will it get the Sternsman? Okay, so activated, and yeah, ends up clipping the Sternsman. I mean, that's pretty good. You can see this guy's going to be running away, but not before he loses quite a bit of HP. The other one loses his HP as well, and the Sternsmen do get tickled. Now, good zombie summoned by the Necrarch Lord. Melkor in the back going to be calling in grenade launchers, which of course will be quite good against all the chaff-centric units if it can stay online. And the Empire's formations are maintaining. Zombies have leaked into the backfield and are causing a bit of disruption. But the Giga Chad Greatswords with their floppy hats of doom will be engaging against the chaff units, and they're very well equipped to deal with chaff. The fact they have high armor means that skeletons and zombies won't do much against them, and of course they have a bonus versus infantry. So yeah, they're going to fight the good fight. And nice Searing Doom right there, right on top of the brick. The Vampire Counts, though, taking some damage, but honestly are still in fine shape. Nothing really significant has been hurt. Necrarch Vampire Lord has taken a little bit of damage, and now we get the Corpse Guards moving in, which are going to help equalize things. The Empire definitely needs to get its Archers repositioned if it can. Silver Bullets here. Zombies, though, are pressing the Archers. You want all those Archers to zero in on the Corpse Guards. The Corpse Guards give you an insane amount of value over the course of a long game. Like, it makes these zombies into just not the worst units in the game. Basically, you know, 10 melee attack, 11 melee defense. It's really not terrible. And then they also, of course, get a little bit of leadership and vigor, and yeah, it adds up. Necrarch Vampire Lord going to be cackling overhead as some Empire Knights are being called in, and the pit fight in the middle continues. Empire Captains getting their butts kicked, though. Both of the White Kings, I believe, already took out one Empire Captain, so you know, the Empire Captains are always the one in all the cinematic trailers just kind of getting beaten up and running. Like, I remember the one where there's the one running from Kolek, and then he comes out and like smashes him with a hammer. Yeah, so they, you know, they don't have the best track record as far as cinematics go. It's almost like being a high elf in cinematics. You're potentially in some danger. All right, guys. Outriders with grenade launchers getting good salvo fire. Greatswords chewing through the chaff units slowly but surely. Sternsmen are engaged in melee and seem pretty healthy at this point. Another zombie summon to the backfield is going to be quite good, and now the Vampire Counts, Count Chocula has called out the Devils of Svartshofen. And the Black Knight's going to be engaging versus the Pistoliers. So a bit of a blunderous play there, letting the Pistoliers get caught in melee versus these guys. But it looks like it was intentional by Melkor, actually. So, okay, look, if he can get a direct hit and do an an equal amount of damage to the Pistoliers, yeah, at least he got something out of it, right? So Emperor Knight's trying to peel the Skeleton Warriors, and Pistolier's going to be shooting up at the Flying Vargeist in the sky. Certainly one of the better uses of these guys to put pressure on those lightly armored flying beasts. On the middle objective, the Empire is controlling it, but the points are very, very close, and good focus fire by Melkor here, using all the Archers to take down the big, valuable Corpse Guards. They're 500 gold a pop, and they really do give massive sustainability. So Empire Knights versus Black Knights. I believe the Black Knights will win in a sustained fight. Their weapon strength is just a lot higher, and their stats and durability is pretty damn similar. But if there's silver bullets helping, that can change the paradigm of that fight for sure. And we do see silver bullets actually shooting into some of the Black Knights, doing good damage. But now the onslaught of the Knight is here, and this is the counterpunch as we see the vampiric forces descending on the Imperial backline. And the Empire is also going to be getting ambushed by the Ghosts on the far side as well with zombie summons. So honestly, Max was kind of in a losing position, but now I think the game's going to get flipped on its head. And it's going to be a lot more even. We do see all the archer units basically breaking. Vargheists are going to easily trade into these Empire Knights. We got Crypt Ghouls coming in to flank and pressure the objective as well. And now that's going to be taking pressure off the objective, because instead of having the Empire focusing its efforts here, they're going to have to worry about defending their backfield. All right, so back on the point, Final Transmutation activated. Very, very good. A great way to get rid of the White Kings, because White Kings pretty much always stay together. Some Greatswords still fighting. Greatswords will be able to chew down White Kings over time if there's not a lot of zombies and other things kind of in the way. Spearman's still here. Empire going to be holding on to the 2 points, and the archer line and the bow line is still very much alive as these Black Knights do get surrounded. Battle of the Bastard style, going to be at -13 leadership, and looks like they are going to be going down here. A very cool map, though. This the Blazing Ramparts is what it's called. They got like a nice river of blood here. Corn certainly loves it. I don't know how Empire and Vampires ended up fighting here, but it is what it is. So good zombie summon there from Maximilianaire. Going to be dropping it right on top of the grenade launcher, so going to be targeting those bad boys. And the Vampiric Monstar Squad, the Monstars, remember that from Space Jam? We got the Vargheists, we got the Hex Race there. Those guys are looking pretty good and are now going to be rotating across this way, looking to butter some bread. But honestly, using Hex Race against Greatswords is excellent because they have really good AP. And honestly, yeah, are just going to be able to chew through this armor like butter. I don't know why he's retreating right now. We'll have to see where he ends up going. So Empire's going to be calling in more Spearmen. For the Vampire counts, mainly just calling in sustained chaff units to try and wrestle the middle objective. And we do see a bit of a blobbed up Vampire Hero Corps. The Vampire Lord himself, as well as the White Kings here, are blobbed up. These Greatswords have put up a good fight. They've gotten the Sternsmen down. The White Kings have also taken a considerable beating. I would imagine they probably have about 700 or 800 value right now. Yeah, about 800. Oh, still got it, dude. Still freaking got it. But 8 leadership on these bad boys. On this bad boy, I should say. It's an individual, but he is getting lowered. And now the point's starting to look a little bit creepy, a little bit vampire-like. Empire Knight's going to be charging into Crypt Ghouls right here, getting a nice punt and trying to move towards the objective to make sure the vampires can't get a foothold there. On the outside, this is the one that's getting a little bit dodgy. So the Empire did have a big gunline position here, but it wasn't quite defended enough, and they could lose this point. Empire player needs to get these Empire Knights as well as these Spearmen up onto Objective 1 right now to make sure they hold that, because often these games can come down to that. And it looks like they are going to be getting it. Empire Knights do come in. Spearmen going to be charging in. Melkor is on, and the charges are in full effect. So there you go. The little creepy gremlin's going to be getting run down right here. And on the middle objective, another great Final Transmutation. So this is a really good knockdown, drag-out game between these players, man. Balthazar Gelt going to be approaching 2,000 value. He's probably very happy with himself. -10 value. One White King is going to be crumbling, and the other one is going to be at 500 and crumbling as well. The floppy hats of Sigmar, nothing can handle the powerful cod pieces and the floppy hats. And I think we are going to be seeing the end of these White Kings here as they do get circle beaten and karate chopped. And the magic of the Supreme Patriarch has been enough to get it done. So the Empire has stabilized this objective here. Objective 1 is in okay shape. Moving in are the Hex Race, going to be getting into the Huntsman battle lines, as are some Skeleton Spearmen. Necrarch Vampire Lord going to be going for the assassination attempt on Balthazar Gelt. Now remember, foot characters are easier to kill in this patch. They're not going to get knocked over quite as much, so that is something to kind of take into account as you look at that. Double Empire Knight is out. What are they going to do? Skeleton Spears are up on the point, not what they want to be dealing with, that's for sure. Hex Race eating some arrow fire, some Huntsman fire, and they're getting worn down, but they're 55% Fizz Res, certainly holding quite firm. But looking at the points, let's take a bit of a macro look at the battlefield. So objective 1 and 2 controlled by the Sons of Sigmar. No threats or ambushes setting up for the Vampire counts to take objective 1. Granted, the Hex Race are certainly being very, very annoying and could be a problem going forward here. Balthazar Gelt might have some Searing Dooms to maybe help finish those guys off. The Archers and the Spearmen are still fighting tooth and nail here, but the Greatswords have really, really been putting in the heavy lifting. They've been holding on to the points, but now for the first time in the game, we do see the Vampires actually getting the capture weight advantage here, and the Greatswords are kind of the last bastion of troops that are really, really holding it down. The Summon does wear down there. Swordsman going to be maybe moving into the point, and the Vampires are able to intercept some Empire Knights. This is a brilliant play by Max. Empire Knights are basically hard countered by Vargheists. Vargheists are just so good against heavy cavalry, because what makes heavy cavalry good? It's the fact that it can charge, right? So the cav can get in there, and it can get a charge bonus, but flying units that can charge them and they can't charge back, super, super strong, right? So objective is in the process of flipping. Swordsman going to be moving up to the point. Greatsword's still fighting. Nothing to really kill the Greatswords on this point. So honestly, this unit of 98 Greatswords, accruing about 500 value here, certainly has a lot of life to give. The Necrarch Vampire Lord going to be fleeing the scene as he does get harried and shot by some of the missiles. And now we have a big heavy hitter coming in for the Sons of Sigmar in the fourth quarter. It is going to be the Royal Altdorf Griffites. On Lend-Lease from Altdorf, it would appear. And they're going to be running in to help out some of these archers that are fleeing the scene, and they will engage against the skeleton spearmen. Not what they want to be fighting, that's for damn sure. Very much a tar pit that is not in their kind of wheelhouse, right? Empire does have a couple units that need to be unsummoned on the other side to make sure to get them back in the pool. Crypt Ghouls with the sneaky here on the outside. Now this would be a good spot for the Demogryph Knights to come over here and make sure your opponent doesn't steal the side objective. A couple archers maybe going to be on their way back in. And where are the Demogryph Knights? I kind of got a little bit lost in the fray there, but Balthazar Gelt is going to be moving. He should probably go stand on an objective as well, because he's really annoying to kill. He's like a small foot character, kind of inconspicuous, but he also provides 3 capture weight, so there's no sense in not having him hanging out on the objectives, right? Yeah, so there's the Demis. Demi's going to be engaging in the blob fight, and they are attacking into the Sternsmen there, and they'll be able to fight back against Vargheists better than Empire Knights could for sure. Right now, going to be going after the old corpse cart as the swordsman laps a little bit, and they need to get there. Hexrays coming across. I love this play because the Hexrays could potentially get a terror route on the swordsman, and this would be a game-throwing play potentially for Melkor. If Melkor just like lets the vampires have this objective when he could have just sent the Demis over there, that would be really bad. But they do arrive, and maybe they're going to hold it. The Hexrays could rear charge them if the Crypt Ghouls hit them from the front and the Hexrays from the back. The terror route, the 35 leadership they're sitting on right now, is going to go very, very quickly. So they do get flanked. Swordsmen going to be fighting at the weak flank of their formation against the old race of the Hex. Their melee defense is 32 against 25 melee attack on Hex race, so it's got a little something. Spearmen are on their way over, should be able to hold that point down. Now back in the middle, it is owned by the Empire still, so it does look like the Spearmen are on their way there. Balthazar Gelt just fighting with his old Pimp Cane, and the Royal Altdorf Griffites, I think, went to go secure Objective 1. So good play by Melkor. I was concerned for him that he would potentially throw the game by not playing Objective 1. Max, though, getting a really good jump, and these are no mere Vargheists. These are the Devils of Schwarzhofen. So they do get a beautiful jump there, and obviously with Balthazar Gelt, you're not going to be seeing Lore of Life, so there's no healing on this very expensive unit. And also, Max does have the Devils here, not the Devils, the Hex Race, which do 100% AP. So the Royal Altdorf Griffites getting their butts kicked pretty badly. I think retreating at this point is the correct play. Getting back and retreating through your Spearmen and standing on top of the Spearmen is going to be your best bet. So Vampire Count's in the process of flipping this objective, but Grenade Launchers of Sigmar have arrived, and that's going to be doing some big damage against the Chaff. But really, there's not a whole lot here. The Empire can win on one objective for sure. So if they just hunker down over towards Objective 1, use their Grenade Launchers to punish the transition between the 2 points, maybe there's going to be a decent opportunity for them. We'll have to see how that goes. All right, guys. Pistoliers shooting into the Devils. And over here on objective number 1, we do see the Empire holding it. Is the Empire aware of the Helm's Deep? Are they going to go for it? Empire captains being called in, archers being called in as well. And the middle objective is going to be flipping to Max. So I think Max does have not plenty of time, but he's got a little bit of time to get this point. Calling in some heavy shot cavalry would be a good call for sure. Because even though a Spearman is, yes, good against these cavalry here, if you just like occupy them in the front and charge them in the back, the spears will not be facing the right direction. And the Vargheists here do descend from the skies, getting a nice jump on the Pistoliers right there as the Crypt Ghouls and Zombies getting ready to rock and roll over to this point here. The Empire is trying to push back the Vampire Counts in the middle, which might be a tall order. Balthazar Gelt getting into melee versus Vampire is not what he signed up for. That is absolutely for sure. Grenade Launchers, though, harrying, doing really, really good damage against the blobs of infantry here, but now we do see this one starting to flip a little bit. And all the Empire has is this Haggard Spear unit. They're going to get Alpha Struck. Cryptors coming in the back, scary cavalry in the front, Devils as far as Hoffen here, and they're going to break in probably like 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, close enough. Terrified and truly broken here most likely in a moment. So that objective going to be going to Count Chocula here pretty quickly as we do see 1,400 points coming in, but the Empire is going to be calling it down with some Empire Knights and continuing to try and consolidate his push in the middle. But I think Maximilianer has just clinched the game. He pulled the value back. He was down by like 2,000 or 3,000 at one point, but he pulled it to a very close amount. And with the amount of healing he's had between invocations, and people forget corpse cards to have a passive heal as well. It's not like a big amount, but it adds up. So the Unholy Lodestone going to be dropping the fat heals on everybody, and I just don't see any way the Empire's going to get these points back. Balthazar Gelt getting smashed as well. Definitely no reason for that. Homie needs to be chilling in the back. But Melkor played a really good game. Honestly, Maximilianer is one of the best Vampire Count players in the entire community, and any Empire player could have lost this game. And he was very much in a good position for a lot of the game. He did well. There was some like issues for both players, but at the end of the day, it was a very, very valiant effort. So Empire trying to get a little bit of cheeky and grab this outside point, but now they lose on just one. Like, once it reaches 1,300, basically. So they would lose on just one objective, but the Empire's coming in with a lot of units, and they do start to steal it, but it's going to be too little too late, as the Empire isn't really contesting any of the other points, and Maximilianaire is able to get his vampiric clutches all over everything. GG, well played. Great game. I love seeing the Chad Greatswords in action. The Empire captains were, I mean, they're so cheap, it's not a huge deal. Although, honestly, I think using Warrior Priests with Soulfire Bombardment would be better. Or Witch Hunters. Witch Hunters are amazing because they have really good AP values, and the debuffs are actually very relevant. You can debuff whatever the Greatswords are fighting with their Accusation, and I think that would probably be slightly better. So maybe cut like one Greatsword and then just get like double Witch Hunter instead. Or double Warrior Priest with Grand Soulfire Bombardments are really good at clearing out chaff units too. But super fun build. Melkor is a great player and a great guy as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing that game. Looking at the value here, Great Swords, 800, 700, 800. So pretty respectable performance, honestly. Huntsman did pretty good, 1,600 and 1,400 there. Necroarch Man, White Kings did what they always do, take 45 minutes to kill and use Scap's Graith. The heavy cavalry play was pretty awesome. The Hex Race getting some shine was nice, but I think the Var guys carried that game. All right, guys, see you around. Take care of yourselves. Well played. And that's going to be it for today.